Hello, everyone. I am so happy to report to you guys all of these awesome updates for Stellar, biggest going into 2025. And I have some things that we're going to discuss in regards to 2025. So please smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's just simply jump into the material. Here we go. First thing we're going to get into is this from Jed McCaleb. Yeah, Jed McCaleb. It's been a while since we've seen him. Some people point out that he's no longer part of Stellar. I don't know why people are saying that. I mean, that's simply not true. That's misinformation. He's the architect. He still plays a role. And you see him front row center on stage, and in the background it says innovation ahead of his time and electric session, looking back at the journey. And again, posted just a few hours ago, today, October 16th, 2024. So take the next part. This is a big, huge announcement. You see, for example, exciting news that Paxos is integrating with Stellar Org and bringing USDL stablecoin to a wider audience. I do agree. Big step for institutional stablecoin adoption. As we move forward in this outline, emphasis on institutions. So take it to this next part. You will see, again, people are excited. Jed McCaleb. I mean, like most people at this point know about Jed McCaleb, unless you're brand new, and welcome if you're new. Nice to see these things. Again, just posted not even that long ago. Last deep dive I shared with you guys was the whole emphasis on Chipper Cash. As I called it in the thumbnail, Stellar Cash. Because these guys, in my opinion, is the step forward for Stellar to basically make Stellar, as Jed had pointed out in the past, a global Venmo. Okay? And at the end of the day, that's what we want to see. Stellar is not just about institutions, but it's also that, let's face it, retail focus. And for me, retail is not my focus. And if anything, I think retail is the smallest market. But when you think of cryptocurrency, when you're first introduced it, it's like, can I use this to pay for groceries, bills, et cetera, et cetera? So it's like, I think Stellar's hitting two birds with one stone, but definitely worth pointing that out as well. As I jump into the next part, I want to share another key finding because, some people do like the idea that Stellar is building a quality product. Mainstream crypto coverage dissected at Meridian 2024. No hype, all substance, led by incredible panel, basically speaking. And with that said, think about this for a moment. You have to understand that it may sound like I'm hyping this. I'm naturally excited just like anybody else. But again, I'm betting on what? I'm betting on innovation. And Stellar stands out in that regard. I'm going to take you over to here. This is one of the key highlights, and I'll connect some more things for you guys. So Meridian 2024's theme is transformation, as Stellar Org marks 10 years since the network was launched. Some people complain about that. Oh, it's been out for 10 years. Oh, they haven't really done much. Look at the price. Well, guess what? Quality over quantity. This is a unique product that you can appreciate, took the time to build it right. And that's where it's at for me. So this lady caught my attention. I'll introduce who this lady is in a bit. Let's play this for a second. It's only about roughly 22 seconds. Listen to this. Here we go.
We're marking our 10 years since the network was launched. So transformation is a lot about what's the transformation we've seen over the last 10 years, and what do we hope, what kind of transformation do we want to see from the network, from our builders, from this very big global ecosystem who's participating in Stellar in the next 10 years. It's a lot about transformation in the past and kind of how that built us up for transformation in the future.
Transformation in the future moving forward. That's where it's at for me and for a lot of you guys. On top of that, who is this lady? Okay. Again, think about this for a moment. So it's digging deeper into some key people. Sometimes we just see things before our eyes, but we don't understand the bigger picture. So I decided to get more into the weeds about this person. And, basically on her profile, it linked me to this on X. So for one, it's Lauren Thorbjornsen. Okay. And it says partner to GTHA bot. All right. When you go over there, this is, of course, what comes up. And global head of protocols. Now, think about this for example. Okay. Global head of protocols. Interesting. All right, because when you go to here, it mentions Blockdaemon, and Blockdaemon is all about this thing called blockchain economy. But again, back to the focus on institutional solution. And my thing is, go Interstellar. Well, Interstellar, if you're not aware of it, is, it has purpose like anything else on X. Mission to drive adoption of the Stellar network. Okay, that's cool. But here's where it gets really interesting. If you were to go over to blockdaemon.com, you see on the top left side about institutional wallet. Now I get it. Some people are going to be like, hey, guess what? A lot of places post that. Okay, fair enough. But what's interesting is if when you get more into Blockdaemon, well, other things start popping up. Okay? And this is something I think that we should all pay attention to. Institutional wallet, MPC, and more for maximum security and control. Institutional wallet is a fully self-hosted wallet with advanced MPC security and no dependencies on any other party for digital asset custody and self-custody. All right, emphasis on MPC. Remember that term. Because when you get more into some of these terms, again, other things unwind. DFNS is a company or organization that maybe you never heard of, but they are leading wallets as a service platform for digital assets. They created this whole thing of, like embedding and managing programmable wallets. But again, I like the terminology at scale, because you could have or claim that you have the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if it can't scale, especially going to Web3, you don't have Jack Daily Squad. So they're using the state-of-the-art cryptography. But what's more important, or most important, is understanding, like it says, that they're introducing MPC wallets to both Stellar and its new smart contract platform, Soroban. And then you guys know me, I've been covering Soroban for a long, long time. And today's emphasis is not so much on Soroban, but you gotta like and appreciate some of these things, because it says on the tier 2 support, devs could already check the balance of XLM. We know that's Stellar's native coin. And on top of that, transfer XLM. Right? So we've been there, done that. But this new tier 1 support, developers can now automatically detect any asset on Stellar and Soroban, not just XLM, and see its balance. View a history of any asset on Stellar and Soroban and interact with Soroban smart contracts using MPC wallet. And of course, there's webhooks. There's a whole bunch of stuff. All right. So this one is not today, May 22nd, 2024 to be exact. Excuse me. But when we jump over to this, I don't think this is a coincidence, because birds of feather do flock together and they do meet at events. So DFNS reposted this, and it says, Big Whale, we're thrilled to announce that DFNS HQ will be an official partner at this exclusive event focused on the future of wallets and innovation in the digital finance space. And this is going to happen on Thursday, November 7th in Paris. Future of wallets. Okay. 7 hours ago. Again, keep in mind, Meridian's happening, right? And you also saw the mentions about Stellar. Now check this out. If you go over to dfns.co, what does it say? Build on the most powerful wallet infrastructure. Okay, DFNS is the WAAS wallet as a service platform chosen by leading fintechs enterprises to streamline digital asset operations and onboard users into crypto safely. More importantly, big names, right? Because it's been certified and audited by, for example, KPMG, huge name, right? And we have 3 billion assets secured, greater than 10 million wallets created, and over 500 million monthly transfers. 0 wallets hacked, by the way. And look at some of these big companies. Fidelity. You see, for example, Socios is big. You see also, for example, AAA and Zulu, digital asset and asset reality. All right, check this out. Embedded digital assets directly into your application. You have a governance engine. And then when I get further down into it, talks about grow with confidence across all blockchains, not just some, but all. Interesting to see some of that. And more importantly, it's when you get further down here, it says one single API for all actions. They streamline transactions. And as I take you further down, they definitely comply with regulations, But more importantly, not just in the EU, but also mentions US FISMA, ensuring future-proof compliance. All right, look at this. They have customer stories, which, you're welcome to read that if you want. But here's the thing. You get further down, I realize a lot of you guys are in a Stellar. You're not just some of the other projects I cover, like Quant. But in my Quant deep dive, I talked about Halborn. You even see, for example, Halborn. And if anything, I will even connect a little bit more in regards to all this on the Quant video. So, if you're into Quant, take a look into that when I put it out. But again, I want you guys to understand this has 60,000 academic citations. They have 5 PhDs in cryptography and 6 patents in MPC. Now, again, you may be wondering, like, okay, that sounds cool. Yeah, it's more than cool. Because, again, you see some things here. ISO 27001, KPMG, ongoing. And when I get further down into it, it's like, man, you can see their plans, and, the enterprise plan gets pretty costly, but start building your DFNS today, pre-built integrations to assist, and like it says, effortlessly scaling from 0 to 1. A lot of big names here. Constellation DAG, Solid Project, a bunch of projects on here are pretty good. But believe it or not, in the middle, as it scrolls by in yellow, you see Stellar, right? And I understand there's other ones, but emphasis on Stellar. Why is that? Well, back to the whole thing of Blockdaemon. Again, it's just not a coincidence to see some of these people attending Meridian and the whole thing with Stellar. Because when you go to blockdaemon.com, protocols. Well, one of the protocols is to do what? Is to understand that Blockdaemon offers institutional grade Stellar infrastructure and on-chain data. And more importantly, it tells you what Stellar is, but who brings some of the offerings to the table. Like, why would this really, really matter all that much? Well, Blockdaemon's offerings, nodes and APIs, RPC API and dedicated nodes. But look what it says in regards to that wallet. Builder Vault, right? And again, we understand the whole thing of dedicated Stellar nodes, and I don't want to get a deep dive about that, but again, understand this. If you have RPC providers for Soroban, for example, and you see the whole thing that, Blockdaemon offers API access for Soroban's native RPC methods, and they realize the scalability of that, especially with API integration, and you see some topics of institution developers have tools that they need for seamless, efficient development on Stellar, what makes you wonder is like, Stellar's got something going on here a lot bigger than even just Paxos. And don't get me wrong, I'm not dismissing that. But again, I want you to understand that Blockdaemon is another bridge, if you will. A bridge to who? Well, banks, custodians, exchanges, custodial wallets. Again, we were talking about things like BlackRock and how, they're the world's largest asset custodian, whether Larry Fink wants to admit that or not because of tax purposes. Understand that at some point, the institutions will need an institutional wallet, and understand the smart money connected to what? Stellar. Talks about how you can get started. We know the drill. Now, as I take you over this, just a few moments ago, okay, or a few hours ago, there was a big update once again. And basically speaking, it's from this that you're about to see here. And I want you guys to hear this because I think this is really cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and share this 19 hours ago, okay? And it's hardly got any views, so apparently not a lot of people were talking about this. But again, everything is in line. Like, it has already got all their ducks in a row, basically. Moneygram announces its latest Moneygram wallet, okay? We understand the whole connection of Stellar and Moneygram. And if anything, let's blow this up, because what do you see in the background? CoinDesk Live presented by Stellar. Interesting. Listen to this. We'll play a good portion of this, and I'll share some other key findings for you guys. I'm telling you, this is the biggest update of the year for Stellar. Here we go.
Moneygram has had a really great progressive development on the Stellar network in terms of providing on and off ramps, as I mentioned. And you also have an announcement today. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, we certainly do. We're announcing our MoneyGram wallet. So for the first time, we're enabling USDC transfers through the MoneyGram network through a special app. which now basically enables, well, actually it's only live today in the United States, Brazil, and Mexico. But it's our first foray into really changing the paradigm around how money moves and giving consumers the ability to actually transfer USDC through the system, and then leveraging the Stellar access rails that we've created, enabling them to do cash in and cash out in markets around the world. So it's like super exciting and be part of our kind of future integration where we continue to try to bridge the world between fiat and crypto.
What was the, I guess, the demand or inspiration to have this product? I know there are other wallets out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we love all the wallets that we partner with, and every wallet has its own sort of specific use case and, kind of its own consumer base that has a need for that wallet. And many times what we see are wallets are being actively used to displace or change or really think differently about fiat and thinking differently about then how crypto can play a role there. Oftentimes, too, USDC and other stable coins are used to kind of bridge that gap between cryptocurrencies themselves, right, and try to create some stability. So what we wanted to do was actually think about how do we take advantage of the rails that we have, our ability to sort of send cash and every fiat you can think of around the world and enable consumers to send money back home. But how can you do that even in a more kind of stable and unique sort of way? Today, when you send money, you're sort of forcing a transaction to complete, right? You send money and you send US dollars, it goes to Mexico, it gets paid out in pesos. You send money from Saudi Arabia to India, and you're paying it out in rupee. This really actually enables consumers to think about loading money into a wallet, having stable currency, and then basically enabling them to send it into and receive it between each other and then cash it out when they want to. So it's helping to fight some inflation. It's helping to really think differently about safety, soundness. How do you really keep money secure?
Maybe you can break that down for me in terms of the user experience. Tell me, what from the moment you're sending money, who you're receiving to, and how they get that money in local currency, or are they, using the wallet to pay for things locally?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great question. So typically today in a remittance transaction is a consumer that needs to get money back home for a specific reason. So whether that is sending money to mom and dad, whether that's saving to return home someday, consumers leave their home countries and have responsibility back home. Today, we do that through basically our 440,000 physical locations around the world. We do that through about 5 billion digital endpoints, meaning we can move money in and out of bank accounts. We partner with about 170 fiat wallets around the world. Big partners like Gcash in the Philippines, as an example. And effectively, we move money across 200 different countries and territories. And so the use case there is typically around how does a consumer support their family while abroad. And so when you start bringing crypto into the equation, what a lot of the companies have been doing in the space and leveraging blockchain to try to think differently about how that can move and sort of avoid some of the pitfalls and traps you can get into with fiat currencies, like volatile, currencies on the exotic side when you get into things like Bangladeshi taka and Nigerian naira. You've got a lot of volatility. And so I think the ability to think differently about cross-border payments and sort of trying to bring stability into the market is really what a lot of the blockchain vision has been in terms of, really leveraging crypto in that way to think differently about how consumers can interact with each other across borders where there may be some
So
challenges.
I'm just walk me through, how you're using the app. Are you going to a MoneyGram office and withdrawing money, or can you use your wallet directly with merchants?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be all the above. So today, consumers can basically walk into locations and pick up cash physically. They can walk in and put cash on the counter physically and say they want to send it cross border. Or you can go to the MoneyGram.com app and you can send money. And now through the MoneyGram wallet, you can go and you can walk into a physical location and load the wallet. You can go to physical location, unload the wallet, and then while in the digital world, you can transfer money seamlessly between people on the chain.
And I guess the key, the reason why we want to do all this partially is, we want to save on the fees. Does this help in that?
Yeah, it actually should in a major way because you're going to be able to time your transfers very differently. Sending USDC is free to do, so you're really just going to be charged on the cash outside when you go to actually convert. And then to your point, if you have the ability to take USDC and use it for payments at the point of sale, you'll be able to seamlessly do that in the future, which will enable you to actually never have to go into the cash world.
Alex, I want to throw a larger concept at you and get your take on it, because I think there's probably not many people who think about money going around the globe as you do. But I have this theory that really stablecoins are the in-game currency of the internet. And so we need an opportunity to be able to transfer money back and forth without really worrying about all the conversion that happens within country to country and region to region, whereas the internet itself is the largest mass of people that exists, right? So when we think about that, I think what the role that you guys play, and through a lot of the work you've done with Stellar here as well, is sometimes you still need to be able to take that money off, right? Yeah. And so is part of the idea around what you guys are doing is also really future-proofing the idea that at some point, whether it's USDC at one point or it could be any stable coin, that there are on-ramps, off-ramps in local markets for people who need to go buy milk, but that you also can get paid in essence, the highest value, most stable currency possible.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. I mean, absolutely what we're trying to do is really kind of change the paradigm around how people think about money. I mean, many of us today, when we travel, right, you can use, Visa, you can use a Mastercard, but you're sort of deferring and delaying a payment because eventually that money has to get paid later. Debit cards, shifting currencies through those has a lot of conversion rate issues associated with it. So if you're living cross-border, if you're not in your home market, banks are designed for domestic, right? And that's what they do, and they do it really well. Anytime you need to get a cross-border and you need to think differently about it, you really have to violate those sort of traditional banking laws in order to make that happen. And I do think that pushing things through stablecoin, thinking about how your Internet of Value concept really comes to play, makes a big difference in terms of a consumer's life and how they can actually kind of move from one day to the next. If you think about living on $1 a day somewhere, actually having a real physical dollar can make a big difference. Having a digital dollar, when you're working in basically a mobile technology world that is internet and basically Wi-Fi and cellular based, it's a huge shift. It's a huge shift in how consumers can really think about their everyday activities.
Hey everyone, did you know 52 million Americans own cryptocurrencies? That's not just a number, it's a movement, economic, social, and political. Decentralized finance, blockchain, and digital currencies are more than buzzwords, they are the future. This November, it's on us to show up and step up. We need to protect crypto to ensure it continues to fuel innovation and freedom for our families and businesses. Don't let this opportunity slip by. The future of crypto is on the line. Make your voice heard this November and pledge to vote now at standwithcrypto.org/pledge.
And you're starting off in the US, Brazil, and Mexico. I wonder why those countries specifically, and in the future, where you hoping to expand?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, the U.S. is the single largest send and receive market globally for remittances, and so it is absolutely the best place to test it. One of the other things that we've launched this year as part of Moneygram on Moneygram.com was our account service as well. So we actually are enabling now consumers to have a debit and basically banking services as part of Moneygram, which is also a big shift for us. The integration of those two products for me is super exciting. So taking Moneygram.com and being able to sort of load and unload and kind of seamlessly move USDC back between those two effectively wallets is super interesting to me. So it's a great use case and testing ground for us. And then Mexico being one of the largest receive markets for remittances, bridging that with the U.S. And starting there is great. And then we have a lot of new activities in Brazil. So it's sort of a bit of a nascent market for us. We just launched our Moneygram.com app there earlier this year as well. So launching wallet at the same time and seeing what we can do in those markets. So they are sort of unique markets in many respects. The Stellar,
they're great test cases.
They're great test cases. Yeah, absolutely. So it should prove a lot because we really want to push this cross-border use case as a remittance use case, right? Yeah. And sort of bridge that and kind of compare it to the traditional service that we offer today.
Do you get a sense of how many people are using it based on the other wallets and partners you've been working with? Like how many people are engaging in crypto?
Yeah, it's actually, for us, it's turning into, it was, a few people testing it, and it's actually quickly gone into sort of the thousands. And so, it's going to be really exciting to see how it goes. And then actually watching sort of the dollar sizes and the flows of funds and what consumers are really doing with it and sort of the timing around utilization. And then we'll pivot and grow and kind of learn from there. So
Can you tease us
Right.
on where you want to pivot and grow?
Well, I'd like to get in every country that I can. Today, Stellar Access is about 170 countries for cash out and 36 for cash in. So I'd like to at least get all of those covered. And then everywhere they have MoneyGram.com app today itself is about 40 markets. And so making it seamless between those would be huge. And then I think for the remittance use case for the big receive markets around the world, the Indias and Bangladesh's and Philippines, it'd just be amazing to have it in those markets. So I'm really, really excited about trying to push it to those.
Shout out to this guy, Michael Cornwell, my friend, great member of our community. He mentioned for years now that at some point, we will go to swipe our debit cards and not realize it's tied to crypto. This is finally unraveling, everybody. And this is another key thing I wanted to bring to you guys because, let's face it, we want to know about these things. I'm going to jump into this next thing before we get towards the end and wrapping it up. Another big announcement. Man, I'm telling you flat out, biggest update of the year for Stellar 2024, right? So from Stellar.org, today at Meridian 2024 in London, by the way, announcement in regards to a new partnership with Mastercard to integrate the company's crypto credential solution with the core Stellar network. And as I take you over to that announcement straight from Stellar.org, you see about the whole thing about a crypto credential ecosystem with Mastercard to unlock verified interactions across what, everybody? Public blockchain networks. My goodness. And more importantly, the publishing date was yesterday, okay? And you see this. Very cool, right? Now check this out before we wrap it up. So Stellar with Mastercard, that's a big deal. We also saw, Stellar with Hedera. We saw the whole thing recently. Stellar with Hedera. Mastercard with Hedera. All right. We also saw the whole thing of Quant with Mastercard. All right. Now check this out. This is, in my opinion, this is going to age incredibly well. If you go over to payments.com, which is basically payments as in PYMNTS.com, you will see back in April of this year, Mastercard takes an AI-driven fraud defense to the next level. Okay? Boom, you see Mastercard, you get the gist, right? But again, bringing artificial intelligence in this partnership to detect and prevent identity and payment scams before they can result in victimizing consumers. Now watch this. Here's your boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew moment. Swift to launch AI-powered fraud defense for cross-border payments. You want to call this coincidence? I'll leave that up to you guys, okay? I just provide research. But this was posted today. And what is also going on today? Big announcements in regards to Meridian, Mastercard. Yeah, it's all happening. To me, this is more than a coincidence, but I get it. Maybe not everybody's on the same page. But what do you see below it? They're launching, as in Swift, an AI-powered enhancement to their payment control service, PCS, that will help banks detect potential fraud in real time. Oh, man. I mean, is this not aging incredibly well, everybody? So, there you have it. I won't keep you any longer. Know what you have. Know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. Hey, everybody, simply do me a favor. You listen to the entire outline and type this into the comments. And that is BD, as in Blockdaemon. And I'll know that you listened to the entire outline. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Stellar should be absolutely massive in 2025. Does it happen at the beginning of the year? Does it happen at the end of the year? Well, I'm leaning more towards the end of the year with the ISO 222 November mandate of 2025. But hey, I get it. A lot of people are going to get shaken out. You got to do what you got to do. But for me, I know what I have. I know why I hold it, as the saying goes. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.